Hi, Sudis. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim or Sim Naya. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across a video where a white woman was talking about princess treatment, how how her husband treats her like a princess. And that actually got a lot of people talking because majority of the things she talked about are the way they try to keep people in hostage or try to maintain patriarchy without if they I think they know what they are doing, but to them it's like this or it's like that. So she was talking about how when she go out with the husband, when she's at the restaurant, she doesn't talk to the waiter or the server, or she doesn't open her door, and she also doesn't order her own food, right? So the husband does all the husband orders all that. I mean, she won't have to speak to anybody and all that. But I do not understand how this is princess treatment. This is more like, I am supposed to speak when I am asked to speak. There is no need speaking. Let him be that man should be the one speaking and all that. Some people do. I feel that the way things are going, like from what she described, is like the direction this country is moving out. Conservative. This is how I feel it. I might be wrong. But feel free to let me know if I am wrong or right. But then this is not it. Let's get into this video.
If I am at a restaurant with my husband, I do not talk to the hostess, I do not open any doors, and I do not order my own food.
This woman is describing this kind of treatment as princess treatment, but this to me looks like the patriarchy in full effect. Women being seen and not heard, women only speaking when being spoken to. This woman is being dragged all over the internet because she sees this treatment as princess treatment, but from the outside looking in, it looks like somebody who wants to be dominated and controlled. And if that's what you're into, have at it. But this is not what princess treatment looks like for most women. When we think princess treatment, we think being spoiled. We think being listened to, being heard, being respected, being valued, being treated well. We don't think about the idea that you can't even speak to a server. You can't smile. You can't speak until your man speaks for you. This to me is no different than the video that I posted yesterday about the woman saying that she wears a day collar to show her husband when he comes home that she's being submissive. Now, this woman seems to be a bit more affluent. She's going to Michelin star restaurants. She's going on nice vacations and all of that. But to me, her collar is invisible. It's still there, though. I totally understand women who want their man to take the lead. You want him to talk to the valet. You want him to talk to the parking lot attendant. You want him to order for you because you think it's very cute, very sexy. But there's a difference between that and you not even being able to speak to a server. You not smiling to a server. You not speaking unless he speaks for you. Like, are you a hostage or a princess? Princess treatment could look very different depending on the woman. But if you like your princess treatment with just a hint of patriarchy, this is exactly what it looks like.
Good morning, y'all. I have something to say. Get ready with me while I talk about white feminism and how it's doing exactly what it's supposed to right now. So I've been on here seeing all the Sabrina Carpenter controversy and also seeing that middle-aged white woman with the princess treatment. First of all, you're a middle-aged woman. Why are you still trying to be a princess? That's besides the point. Anyway. And then also Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. And I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, what do all of these have in common? Other than the fact that these are all white women. And I realized that this is just how white women express their femininity. And seeing all the people make excuses for the way these women are acting are just white women as well. Because this is just how white feminism works. I've been passionate about Black women politics and just history in general for a long, long time. So let's talk about it. I'm also a hyper-femme lesbian, so I know a lot about femininity, so I can go ahead and let y'all know more about that too. Anywho, I was thinking about this and the album cover with the man holding her by her hair and then this white lady saying that she doesn't even talk to wait staff and she doesn't even look them in the eye and shit like that. It just got me thinking that this is genuinely how white women view femininity. This isn't a performance for them. They adhere to the patriarchy with their femininity. Everything they do feeds into how men want to perceive them. Like, yes, straight women in general can present themselves as a tri-wife core, but it's especially white women because that's the only form of femininity they ever had. Anyway, since the beginning of time, especially in Western culture, it has always been about men, how to please men, how to make men happy. And historically speaking, white women have always had a problem with the way their white men look at other women. Now, they also punished the black slaves who were victims to these men, but still, they wanted their femininity to be defined in some way. They would shave the heads of their slaves. They would let their slaves get sexually assaulted and pretend like they didn't know anything about it. They would act in all sorts of ways to be innocent and docile and childlike. And that is genuinely what their root is. The root of white feminism is the patriarchy. White feminism is just palatable, tasteful liberalism for white people. That still is like, yeah, I still cater to men. Now, this is where hyperfemininity takes its role in this place. Hyperfemininity is exactly what the name is, a dramatic form of femininity. It is so feminine that men don't even really find it attractive. And the best part about hyperfemininity is that it can be described and presented in multiple different ways. There are multiple different hyperfeminine creators who all have different aesthetics, but we're all hyperfeminine together. But the thing is, we don't cater to the male gaze, and that's what the hyperfem culture is, because men rarely compliment the way I look. Men rarely come up to me. Men rarely flirt with me. Men don't interact with me that much because I just look too girly for them. Like, I can attest, I was talking to my brother once, and I was telling him, like, could you tell I was gay? And he was like, yeah, you just look like you don't like men. Like, I don't know, you're just too girly for a man. But white feminism is all about how can I still be subversive to a man while still benefiting from this system. So yes, even though Sabrina Carpenter, all the men die in her universe, she still caters to the male gaze with her album cover and her Lolita shoot. You're acting like people are like, well, men don't even listen to her music. We all know what men look at her for, just like we all know what men look at Sydney Sweeney for. Come on. But it's only white women defending this and saying it's not that deep because they've never been affected by the consequences of their actions when it comes to the hypersexualization that they push onto society. Because when they hypersexualize themselves, not only do they do that, they hypersexualize children and women of color unintentionally. Or intentionally, actually, with the Sabrina Carpenter Lolita shoot. If you haven't seen Lolita, I've seen it. I consider it a horror movie. The book is a horror book. It is really about a grown man's perspective, a pedophile's perspective on him falling in love with a child. And not only did you take a shoot condoning that, but you're posting it, and people are trying to say it's not that deep, when you literally just cater to the pedophile's gaze. Now, what do you think that's going to do to children nowadays? The children who listen to you. And don't get me wrong, it's on the parents who let their children listen to Sabrina Carpenter. They need to know what their children are listening to. But at the same time, you know that all of these parents are fucking naive, and you know these parents don't care what you're singing about because you're a little tiny blonde-haired, blue-eyed blonde girl. But the thing is, black women suffer because of it. Because this is just jealousy in real time. White women will do anything to be seen as the most feminine. Anything. And they genuinely believe they are. Even though they don't wash their legs. Even though they don't take etiquette classes. Even though they don't do anything to qualify them as high class, they genuinely believe that all of them are better than the best of women of color. Which is why you can see Vanna in fucking Love Island being like, I'm everyone's type. Nobody wants you. But of course, because you're on a minority season, you think you're everyone's type because you're a white girl and you think that you're inherently better. Even with that white woman wanting princess treatment, not wanting to talk to people. It's all submission. Y'all equate your femininity to how submissive you can be. And that's the main reason why black men admit to dating outside of their race too, is because they say white women fight less. White women are more submissive than black women or women of color. Y'all aren't really feminine women. And y'all perform like horrible drag queens because you think you're a feminine woman. White women's femininity comes down to how innocent can I be and how sexy can I be at the same time. That's where the whole sexy baby concept comes from. They came up with that. They sexualize children like Sabrina Carpenter with that shoot. They benefit off of the patriarchy like Sydney Sweeney with her bathwater. And then they play innocent and play docile like they have no power, like the white woman who wanted princess treatment. It's all coming together. I feel like nobody is really seeing it. Like, it's right in y'all's faces. This is white feminism in real time, and it's on the rise again. It's not even trad wives, it's white feminism that's on the rise. This is also why whenever I see like white women wearing bows or the cutesy things, like a lot of white women imitate the things I do and they just kind of look weird doing it because you can tell everything is a performance. And now white women are trying to integrate into the hyperfem space, and I'm welcoming them with open arms because you guys need to start dressing how you want to dress. Y'all need to stop listening to these men. Anytime a man tells you that he doesn't like your aesthetic, I want you to start womp 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 right to his face. When he tells you to stop wearing makeup, womp 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 right to his face. Tell him he shouldn't be wearing makeup. Be like, I'm glad you don't. I still am. And that's also where the animosity towards black women comes from, because historically, even though black women have always been put down by white women and tortured and been made to be afraid of white women and white men alike, black women still succeeded and still represented femininity in other ways. So we would make ourselves hats, we would make our own dresses, we would make ourselves look our best with what we had, and they did not like that. They didn't like that because that threatens their mediocrity. What do you mean I can't just be mediocre anymore? What do you mean I actually have to try like you try? No. It's all white supremacy. All white supremacy. I need y'all to see through it. I need y'all to see through it, babies. Anyway, I'm gonna finish my makeup. It's Friday. Bye. This is also another reason why white feminists reduce everything about their feminism down to their actual organs. When you confront one of these white women too and you ask them what's so sacred about being a woman, you know, when it comes to trans people, and they say, well, I can have children, I have periods. Y'all reduce yourselves down to what you can do for a man. Because you can give a man a baby, you think you're more of a woman than another woman. Because you can give a man a baby. Everyone's like, pick me, pick me, pick me. Knowing dang well these men don't deserve children. They don't deserve anything. Men don't deserve anything ever in the history of ever in the world. I've never given men anything but a hard time. Roe v. Wade got overturned. Women are losing rights every day. There is a brain dead black woman who just got cut open, who was forced to hold on and carry a baby in her dead body just to see if they could do it. And you guys think this is what we need right now. Like, yes, what we do need is a woman getting her hair dragged by a man. We do need that. We do. And we need women who shut the fuck up. So just shut the fuck up. Like, that's the thing. Y'all want to be trad wives so bad, but y'all talk so much. Trad wives don't talk. They cook. Go do that. Good morning, y'all. I have something to say.
That white woman who's going viral for explaining that her version of princess treatment when she's with her husband is that, like, when they go out, she doesn't touch anything, she doesn't, like, look at the wait staff, she doesn't talk to them, like, he does everything. That is a perfect example of the direction that this country is moving into, and I don't mean that in a good way. It started off with the, like, oh, get you a man you can turn your brain off when you're with him, and get you a man who, like, will make all the decisions for you, and, like, let's go back to being stay-at-home moms, let's go back to being a stay-at-home wife, or, like, oh, I'm just a girl. Like, all those things seem very, insignificant when they're happening. But as we all know, as far as culture and, like, large-scale shifts go, things start small and then the pendulum starts swinging. And right now our pendulum is swinging into a very conservative direction. We about to end up right back where we were in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And this time we're asking for it. Now everybody wants someone who can make all the decisions for them, and you don't want to think about him. You want him to have all the money, and you don't want to have to work, and all that is fine, and it's understandable, and it would be cool if it ended there. But it doesn't end there. That's how it starts. The whole, like, oh, women being seen and not being heard, and, like, you just show up and look cute and everything just happens around you and you just sit there, would be cute if that was it. If that's where it ended, then it would be fine. But that's not how things go. There's nothing cute about not making your own decisions. There's nothing cute about giving up your autonomy piece by piece by piece.
There's nothing cute about that. And again, all these things sound very insignificant when they're happening, because of course we all want a man who's going to provide, and we want someone who can take care of us, and that is good and that's understandable. But it's getting to a point. That's all I'm going to say. It's getting to a point.
White men have been so successful at packaging oppression to white women that they have white women on this app right now trying to sell you the trad wife lifestyle, and they're calling it princess treatment. I will die on this hill. White women do not know that they are oppressed. You have been finessed. You have been talked out of your drawers. They do not have to beat and batter you anymore. They have successfully packaged oppression and told you all you have to do to get princess treatment is to allow me to make all the decisions in your life, to allow me to pay for everything. Give up your bodily autonomy. Give up your self-autonomy. Give up your decision-making ability. Give up your job. Give up your life. Have my children, and you will be taken care of for the rest of your life. But also, do what I say do. Go where I say go. Be seen and not heard. Dedicate your entire life to keeping our house clean and our children raised. You have been bamboozled and hoodwinked. And it's why y'all don't have community, because you believe that lie and you spend your life fighting other white women for access to proximity, for access to having a man. Like that's something to have. And then, hold on, you use that same measuring stick to judge and police black women when they don't do how you do. And not being able to see that you are actually oppressed is what prevents you from voting for a woman 2 separate elections, voting against your own best interest, because your proximity to male white power has proven to be more important to you than your unactualized personal power. I say all that to say, get your shit together. Because why would you even get the right to vote in 1920 and then do this with it? Shit don't make no sense to me.
Listen, I get it and I don't get it. Let's talk about this princess treatment video that's like kind of gone viral. I understand a little bit about where she was coming from as a person who went through a period where I was extremely anxious and I had a really hard time talking to waiters and waitresses. I do think that the problem that I have with it is that during this current political climate, it does feel a little patriarchal to be like, I just turn my brain off. I don't think about anything. My husband handles literally everything down to tying my shoes. Because hearing that part, I was like, are you a child? But then also listening to the first video that I had seen, which is this one where she's talking specifically about going on a date with her husband and like letting him handle all of it because he is taking her out on a date. I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. I think that there are 3 different types of princess treatment in the cultural zeitgeist at any given time for like the last 20 years, which is the Disney princess treatment, which is fanciful. Then there is the patriarchal princess treatment, which everything that a man does is through the lens of like taking care of his wife, but it also doesn't give her the opportunity to take any type of agency over her own life on the off chance she decides to, and that includes leaving him. And then the third type, which is the people's princess. So think of Princess Diana, Meghan Markle, even for others, Kate Middleton. I said their names like that for SEO purposes, leave me alone. And these are women specifically who have devoted their lives to service and helping and building community in different forms or fashion. Specifically, again, the people's princess, Princess Diana, who used her platform to help the disadvantaged, to help the voiceless, and to build relations through soft power, which oftentimes is seen as a more feminine trait. Being poised and elegant oftentimes is more subjective than people really want to give it credit for, as well as like the idea of being loud. Like, that is up to you. You might have biases that might check you from realizing that like this person isn't loud, you're just extremely quiet, or even arguably boring. And lastly, I'm a very traditional woman that people don't really realize that about me. And I think it's because I talk a lot, maybe. And I remember one time I had a friend who was like, I'm surprised your husband told you no. And she confessed this to me after she had been drinking. She was like, I'm surprised your husband told you no. Like, I thought you handle everything in the household. And I was like, girl, no, my husband does it. But like the way our energies match, like his masculine, my feminine, I'm just able to do that because that's who I am. And he handles a lot of other stuff because that's who he is. Right? Like, you don't have to take this as what she's saying as Bible. It's just her experience. And I think more people should recognize it as such and understand that there's different ways to do it, but also understand that in that patriarchal princess treatment, it is a very slippery slope to different forms of abuse. But that's just my quick thought.
So I just saw that video from that princess treatment woman where she is talking about how when she's out with her husband, she doesn't talk to hostess or waiters. Her husband handles all that for her and orders for her. A lot of wild stuff was said throughout that video, you know, to each their own, I suppose. Like from her saying that she doesn't even make eye contact with the staff when she walks into the room. Her husband does all that. To her saying that, you know, part of that feminine energy or femininity, whatever she phrased it as, to be, you don't have to speak unless you're spoken to. So let's talk about that real quick. So there's a huge intersection between domestic violence and human trafficking, because a lot of times the trafficker can be the survivor's like husband or boyfriend or whoever it might be, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of trainings that, you know, educators like myself do, where we tailor the training to be how to respond if you suspect somebody is a survivor of domestic violence. So that training might be tailored specifically for law enforcement, to medical staff, because there's literally no way in whatever profession you're in that you don't come across a survivor. You might not know they're a survivor, but there's no way you've never come across a survivor in your line of work. So part of that training is recognizing what are some signs that somebody might be in an abusive relationship or might be a victim of trafficking, right? And, you know, how to go about that, you know, without tipping off the abuser or potential abuser, right? So part of that training is realizing who in their dynamic looks like they don't have autonomy, right? So let's say you're like your nurse, right? And somebody comes in with an injury and you're asking the person with the injury, hey, what's going on? And the other person interjects and say, oh, well, they fell, you know, or we were playing around and this happened, right? And you ask this person, oh, okay, well, where were you? And the person else that's there with them interjects and says, oh, well, we were in the room. And it's like, you know what I mean? Or, you know, you're a wait staff, right? And you're asking somebody their order, and before they respond, look at their partner. Like, you can't tell me what you want. You know what I mean? Like, and I know some of y'all are thinking, oh, wow, like, you know, this is just like princess treatment. You know, this is just somebody who's letting their man lead or whatever it is. But that's also what it's like when an abuser or trafficker is with their person they're trafficking. You know what I mean? So, like, that should raise some concern for some people. I think the misconception there is the belief that abuse only happens in the home and that abusers don't take their survivors out of the house. But sometimes the abuse does get to the point where there's injury and they have to go to the hospital. Sometimes the abuser wants to go out to eat somewhere and they bring the survivor with them, right? So like these are some times you can recognize or possibly recognize that somebody in your profession, in your restaurant, in your office is a victim. Whatever content you choose to follow, whatever pipeline you want to go down, whatever seems like princess treatment for you, I can't tell you what to do. You know what I mean? I think you just at least look at these things with an open mind. But I will leave with this story though. When I was in my early 20s, before I even got into this field of work, I used to go to this gym, and there was a couple in the gym, and sometimes the girl wouldn't even work out. She's just there with him. I mean, she's in there with like jeans, sandals on, like she's there clearly not going to work out, and she's just there with her boyfriend, I'm assuming it's a boyfriend, while he's working out, right? And some of y'all, again, are going to think, oh my God, her man, she's supposed to be around him, she wants to be under his skin. Hey, whatever you perceive that to be, you know what I mean? And one day, it was like nighttime, they were there in the gym again, she was not working out at all. They left before me, and like, you know, after they left, I was leaving the gym too. And as I'm leaving the gym, mind you, like the gym is on like a back street, right? So it's like no street lights. As I'm leaving the gym, my headlights flash and I see her sitting on the curb on the floor. Her boyfriend not around. Like she's on the curb, and like in the exit of the street, just sitting there. So like, I'm like, that's strange. So I mean, I just drove past, but then I'm like, nah, ain't no way. Like there's no way. So I come back around and I like pull up next to her slowly, and I'm trying not to be creepy because, you know, it's still nighttime and this is a woman like in the middle of the street by herself. I roll my window down. I'm like, hey, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, you sure? It's like dark out here and you're sitting here with no phone, like just sitting there. She's like, yeah, I'm okay. huh? I didn't say that, but I'm just like, nah, there's something going on here. But like, hey, I just left. But you can't tell me that that's a normal interaction between a couple. You can't tell me that.
Princess or prisoner? Which one? You go out, you don't talk to wait staff, you don't look at the menu, you let your husband do everything for you. He tells him what you want, he talks for you. It's giving prisoner, babe.
This is all I got from this video, and sincerely speaking, this cannot be princess treatment. Just look at it from other angles, because like, look at the way, sorry, I'm so sorry, I don't even want to go where I want to go now, because it's going to be broader, you know. Like, when I'm at the restaurant with my husband, I did not talk to the waitress, I did not open the door, I did not order my own food. You see how, see, patriarchy, like you said, in full effect, nothing more than that, you know? Like, how do you tell me that you cannot speak to the world? Like, what kind of princess treatment is this? This cannot be princess treatment. There is something that I have noticed about these people, and that it's on period, you know? The steady rise of conservatism, right? When it comes to white people, white women. And when people try pointing all this out, you are an enemy of progress or something. Really, like, how is this a princess treatment? Just like the way the other lady said, I talked about connected it to slavery and all that, you know, back then, how they do not want you to look at their man, how they do not want you to, like, you know, show off this, show off that, they are going to cut your hair, like, you know, things like that. Patriarchy in full effect, you know, and then some people will say they are very submissive. Black people are not as submissive. Like, am I a cat? Am I a cat? Even cats are they're not submissive. They are very aggressive, you know. Not aggressive like, you know, don't look for their trouble, because they are coming for you. So I am not that dumb, you know. So you cannot speak up when there is need. How can you don't even understand the heart? Like, you know, see, I don't understand how to explain this, but it's a little bit hard, like, you know, trying to dot and connect it, like how somebody came out and thought that this could be a princess treatment, you know, not doing this, not doing that, not speaking to a waiter, making him order your food, means that you cannot speak up when you are supposed to speak up. The other one said it's fetishization. It likely might be. She can't look at the waiter. He does every, like, and like what the other lady said, it is absolutely the egg. Like, you know, it's more like the direction the country is going at this point in time. It's, and the way, like, you know, the way things are going at this point in time, trad wife or whatever she wants to be and all that. Now, for me, it's not making sense. Like she said, it might look insignificant as this is happening. It's actually significant, but yeah, it might look insignificant, you know. Yeah, like you said, the bell is ringing towards the conservative section, and it looks like it's really going to hit so bad. But now, this is not princess treatment. I don't know, maybe I am wrong sometimes. Maybe my thinking and all that sometimes is not good enough. But I'll be reading your comment as usual. Bye for now.